This is the Power Platform Daily Brief from Serum Audio for Friday, August 2nd, 2019. What you need to know about the Power Platform today in 10 minutes or less. I'm Brad Koontz. Wayne Walton, thank you so much for joining us on the Friday Power Conversation.
Certainly.
Can you give our listeners just a real quick idea about what's your role? What do you do?
Sure. I'm a senior solutions architect with Hitachi Solutions. And I came from way back when I used to be in hardcore IT and network administration. Actually worked for Fran Tarkenton of all people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so way then, I was approached by one of my friends to start a new business, a software development firm. And Fran, upon hearing this, being a big entrepreneur himself, basically said, look, if you don't take this opportunity, I'm going to fire you. So you go take this opportunity. So I ended up doing that, and we were Microsoft platform devs and started using Dynamics back in version 4.0 as a development platform. Soon enough, I ended up starting leading that practice and realized that we should be selling it directly as sales automation, not just as a software accelerator. And ever since then, just kind of doing that. Moved over to Hitachi and never really looked back.
That's great. So, your origin story with Dynamics in Power Platform, that's interesting because first of all, I didn't know that you worked and knew Fran Tarkenton. He's one of my heroes. So that's really cool. But the idea of Dynamics as a platform as opposed to just a sales business application, right? So that's an idea that you had to wrap your head around kind of early. You kind of went in and out of it. And now here we are back at the Power Platform where everything's fair game again.
It's a perfect cycle.
I love it. So let me ask you this: how are you positioning Power Platform to customers? What are you telling customers when they want to know about the Power Platform?
That basically it's everything that their data is going to be on now. What they do with Dynamics is Power Platform. It's just a new way of looking at it and a more flexible way of thinking about how you as a business handle your data and address your data for the rest of them, for externally and internally.
So you have a good bit of experience with dual write. First, can you explain to our listeners who may not know what that is?
Sure. So to start off, back when Microsoft rebranded Dynamics to Dynamics 365, they made a very large promise that the entire Dynamics 365 platform was going to be unified. And for anybody who's been in the business, that wasn't really quite true, but they had this very ambitious plan called the Common Data Service or the Common Data Model. So that was their intent, to build a data platform that all of Dynamics was going to run on. It's, as anybody who's touched it knows, it's been growing and getting closer to that ideal for years now. And dual write is basically the next evolution of really getting into having your financial data and your CRM CE data in one platform, being that Power Platform now.
Okay, that's great. So, advice to customers: they want to try dual write. What do you tell them? How do you give them that trial?
So it's definitely still in preview state, so we would make sure that they are not trying to push this into production. This would be something they want to plan for in the future. But from there, all they need to do is make sure that they have a demo environment of F&O and a demo environment of CE. So they have both sides of the Dynamics 365 platform. And then they need to make sure that their finance and operations environment is on platform update 27. That's the big thing right there. You won't see anything without that. Microsoft has a very good in-depth deployment guide on all of the steps you need to take inside of your finance and operations platform. I won't speak to it here because it's pretty lengthy, but do set aside about 2 hours to actually configure the operations platform to turn on the dual write. Once you have that, if you've ever looked at the Common Data Service setup and the templates and all the stuff that Microsoft's put together there, it looks almost exactly like that, except it's in your finance and operations admin. So anybody who's used to CE, you're going to have to learn how to administer finance and operations as well, at least the data sides of things, because dual write exists only within the context of finance and operations. But once you've got that, the interface should be very much like you're expecting from any Power Platform interface. It looks very common to, it's the Common Data Service. Of course it looks common. But once you're in there, the one things they don't have, that they haven't migrated over since it is still just a preview, is all of the templates. So if you're used to seeing the prospect to cash templates or the field services templates, don't expect to see them here. If you test out dual write right now, you will be building from the ground up. The major advantage with that is dual write has a major piece of functionality that you had to hand build if you've been using the current templates, and that is, dual write back and forth. So when you're configuring a single package to sync up between your CE and FNO environments, you can have a single line that says, hey, this is dual mastered. I need to be able to update CE from FNO and vice versa. Whereas before you had to build two completely different integration packages to make that work.
And what to expect in the future for this?
So I'm going to assume, this is an assumption on my part, that those templates that Microsoft built for the CDS will come over to the dual write platform. Once that's there, I expect them to start putting it into broader release and eventually put it into production. And if it's maturing the way that it looks, I think for any companies that are just need that FNO to CE integration, it's going to become a very straightforward integration path for them, since it basically resolves all of the weaknesses that the current CE CDS integration has right now.
Okay, great. Thank you for that explanation. Switching gears real quick, when you're not focused on dual write and in the Power Platform and Dynamics, what do you do in your spare time?
Not too much in the way of spare time right now. Our first baby is coming in just about a month, so
congratulations.
Prepping the house for all of that, getting everything ready, making sure my wife is very comfortable with this last month. So that's most all of it. The other big passion I've got is I've always loved soccer, and being in Atlanta now, I have been very fortunate to watch Atlanta United grow from a beginning MLS team a couple years ago into the powerhouse that soccer it is today, and I hope to hand that off to my daughter when she's ready to watch too.
This is a great town to be in for soccer. It's amazing to see how this town has gotten behind the Atlanta United, and we got our first championship since 1995 with the Braves, so it's been pretty exciting.
No doubt.
So Wayne Walton, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely, it was a pleasure.
That's all for today's Power Platform Daily Brief. Power on.